I want to talk about Kobbie Mainoo. They get their idiot brother to stand inside the stands wearing a T-shirt because he's not being picked for a team, not because there's any bias against him.
Right, well, also on Monday Night Football, Jamie Carragher had some interesting comments about Bruno Fernandes following his stunning free kick. Listen to this.
Bruno Fernandes, among others, decided to have his say in the game. First time since 2012 that we've seen a direct free kick scored by both sides in the same game. What a strike, Jamie.
Amazing. Listen, he's just a brilliant player, isn't he? You know, he has his critics, but it's not for his football. I mean, you think of the goals and the assists he's got. And if he had a few more trophies, if he won a Premier League or maybe a Champions League with Manchester, we're probably talking about one of the greatest sort of foreign players, certainly to come to our shore. But because he hasn't quite got that, but his numbers stack up as much as anybody's.
Right, Charles, is Carragher right? If Bruno had won more trophies at Manchester United, would he be classed as an all-time Premier League great?
I can see where Jamie Carragher's coming from on that, but from my opinion, I think he's in the conversation, he's in the bracket already for me for what he has done. But yes, if he wins trophies, Manchester United, yes, of course, then he becomes that. But also, you can say it on the flip side: if he plays in a better Manchester United team, does that free him up even more to score more goals, to assist more of his teammates?
Yeah, OK, we've got a poll running on this as well on Manchester United. Gee, always good to see you. We'll get into Amrim and last night in a moment, but on that last bit there about Bruno Fernandes, do you think he is a Premier League great, and how does he compare to former Manchester United captains?
Oh, tough one. I would say Bruno's been one of the best signings we've made post Sir Alex Ferguson. That's the best way to define him. It's a shame that I don't want to say like he's wasted his best years here, but he's not going to be spoken about in conversations with other great players because he hasn't won enough. Man United is a club that's built off winning things. It's hard to say without a European title, not even a Europa League, to put him in that bracket. But I think Man United fans understand how important he's been for us.
We can't get enough of you, KG. We've got two of you on the screen there.
There's two of me, bro. Oh my God, he's been sacked. Oh, he's back. Busting out.
KG, you know when you say with Bruno, and you say about winning trophies, etc. When a flip side, and I'll say, when do United look like they're going to win the league again, or when they're going to go close to winning the Champions League? That's obviously one thing, and that's just a period of time Manchester United are going through. But I just think he's come up trump so many times for Manchester United over the years. Even last night, for argument's sake, I just felt like when he was stood over that free kick, from a neutral point of view, I would just think he's going to score. This is his moment. And you almost knew what was going to come and happen. And this was a fantastic free kick. And I think also what Jamie Carragher said on Monday Night Football was a lot of things get spoken about is off the field stuff. Nobody questions what he does on the pitch. It's how he acts when he's not on the ball, right?
What's crazy is it's mad because amongst the Man United fan base, he divides opinion because you talk about. Still, I don't understand it personally, but obviously he's playing deeper. And you've seen us concede as many goals as we conceded yesterday. And some people say, obviously, he's so desperate to get forward, he does leave gaps. And that's where we can concede. But I think you have a player like this that's giving his all for the club. Look how visibly upset he is. He gives his all. He does make mistakes, but he's clutch. We should just appreciate him while he's here.
But that's nothing new over the years, mate, that how attacking-minded he is. Hence the numbers he gets goals, hence the numbers he gets assists. So there's always been that issue with him that he leaves gaps in behind. So is he almost being played out of position for Ruben Amorim to get almost even better out of him than what he is now?
Well, and this is going to be the Ruben Amorim special question, right? They talked about us changing formation, changing shape. Wherever Bruno plays, he's going to be the top assister. It doesn't matter who else comes in. I've seen many players step in and say he's going to replace him. No one ever does it. So you can tell this guy's got the piece. He's got the bit between his teeth to really push on this club. We need a bit more. But you can now say, without a doubt, that guy's incredibly clutch.
Well, what about Kobbie Mainoo? I know that you like him. He came on to a standing ovation. I know you will have enjoyed that as well. But you'll have also seen that his half-brother posted a photo of himself wearing a T-shirt that said, "Free Kobbie Mainoo." So what do you think about that whole situation? We've got the picture up there right now.
Jordan, here's Jordan again. Why? This is the most stupidest thing. The pressure has been on Liverpool. Liverpool been the circus, and guess what Jordan does? He takes that Love Island energy to Man United. No one needs to see him do that. Imagine Casemiro's got a yellow card now. He doesn't. He's not going to be in the team. This is your brother's moment. End of the day, people have to wait. You get your opportunity, you must take it. This has been the absolute stupidest move that anyone could do. I don't know who was advising him, but it just reeks of ego. Yes, sir.
KG, no one's advising him. That is self-branding, my friend. That is self-branding. That is him putting himself out there above his brother. All that. I'm not sure he's spoken if he has spoken to him, it's even worse if they've agreed it. That's what I'm saying. But even worse, that is down to full self-branding, not respecting his brother, not respecting that his brother plays for Manchester United, and not realising the situation that he's in. You need to remember, you are the half brother that went on Love Island, and that is it. Respect the situation that Kobbie Mainoo plays for Manchester United, arguably one of the biggest clubs in world football.
If that's what he wanted, it has worked, because we're talking about it here, which means it has worked for him.
It has worked for him, but in a different way. KG, in a different way, in a laughing stock way, is almost like he's not getting the credit. It's like, what are you actually doing? I think, as much as we are talking about, I think that it goes the opposite direction to him, to be honest.
We've scored 8 goals in the last 2 games. And the conversation is about Kobbie Mainoo's brother. And now hopefully Amrin managed this well. We have to take a leaf out of the Liverpool book of how that was a firestorm they had to deal with. And they kind of quelled it and just took out the noise. The problem is the noise is coming from within. How does his brother do that when Man United, we're trying to push on. We're trying to go to the next steps. It's not been easy for the club, for the manager, for everybody involved. And you go out and do this. It's self-serving, and it doesn't help anyone.
Do you think it's going to backfire, KG? Do you think it'll backfire on Kobbie Mainoo? Do you think Ruben Amorim's got that about him?
You can't take it out. Surely you can't take it out on him. He didn't wear the T-shirt.
Yeah, but then the conversation comes. So
unless there's a proof of a text message saying, here, half brother,
he's not going to get it.
Can you wear this T-shirt that I've got?
But the conversation's still going to happen between the manager and the player by saying, did you know about this? Obviously, he's going to say no, but do you think he's going to react?
Ruben has been quite he's been very strict when it comes to things. He said that he watches the way players talk, the way they move in the training ground. He's looking at everything. Remember with Rashford Gate? We never heard what Rashford actually did. But as Rashford and Garnacho, they get dropped for the Man City game. I really hope the manager's ego doesn't go too crazy in this one, and he can calm things down and say, look, that was crazy from your brother. Let's separate the two.
Okay.
That's what really needs to happen.
KG, on this, bud, what you're saying, you brought them up, Rashford and Garnacho. If there was a family member of them two that posted a picture last night like that situation, how would you feel, and would you feel in the same situation you do this morning?
Do you know what's so mental? Every situation is totally different. If it was Garnacho, I'm livid. If it's Rashford, Mr. MBE trying to serve the kids and stuff, you might have a bit of a different, it's who it is. And the fact is Kobbie Mainoo, we have him, hands behind his head, AIG shirt, young, with the big glasses. We love this player. You saw the crowd, the excitement. We're disappointed, but he has to have a conversation with his family, honestly, because I wouldn't accept it from Garnacho. Where it got with Rashford, I was fuming about Rashford at the end. But Kobbie, please don't go down this trip. You don't need this. You're going to play now. If we see Manuel Ugarte on the weekend instead of Kobbie, well, we know what happened, really.
I think Garnacho's brother actually was causing problems for Ruben Amorim as well. So I think this has happened before. In terms of, Kobbie Mainoo has come through the academy. He's one of your own. You love that. But Amorim, what do you think about the way he talks about these the academy players, because he's had scrutiny over comments about Harry Amas and also Chido Obi as well, and then the fact that he's not playing Kobbie Mainoo. Manchester United in the past have always brought players through their academy, have been welcomed into the first team, and it seems like at the moment there's no pathway.
Well, no, I would disagree with that. Yesterday, obviously, was not from our academy, but you look at we had a young centre backs in there. We had one that we snipped from Arsenal in Aiden Heaven. And then we played Euro. That was a very young team. And what you saw yesterday was it lacked leadership. It lacked people to get over the line. Let's say you come back as 4-3, there's no way you should lose that game or capitulate in the last 5 minutes. But again, is sniffing out the danger areas, knowing where people are going to be. And those young players can't do it just yet. So the question is, we can cry out and say, well, it's the Man United way, bringing these young players, but are they truly ready to play at this maximum level? For the dream of it, yes, I want to say follow the ethos of the club, but there's no lies in where have the club been with that ethos so far post-Ferguson.
Surprisingly, KG, when he went 4-3, the game was still so open. It still was continuing to be a basketball game. Manchester United almost wasn't happy just to win 4-3. It was almost like they were still pushing to go and make it 5-3. And some people say,
we called him a coward. We called him a coward in the last one when he tried to shut up shop. So I think you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like it's almost, I feel for the manager in this stage, because could you blame him for that? He's really trying to say going with attacking football, and look what attacking football has really brought in this game.
But KG, on the flip side of that, if your goalkeeper don't make 2 fantastic saves, you lose the game 5-4.
Oh my God!
So let's be serious. Do you know he makes a fantastic save from Brooks? He makes a fantastic save again at the end.
If I went to Turkey, I'd have hair, mate.
You and me both, buddy. You and me both, bud. You and me both.
Hey, well, NKG would just say, are you more optimistic about Manchester United's future or pessimistic? Because there's so many positives, there's always a negative to balance them out.
Listen, it's Fort Park FC. I don't know to be up or down. It's roller coaster settings, mate. I don't know. That's who come to me next week, and I tell you, I'm excited. We could lose to Aston Villa. Well, look, we're in a position. I don't have to scroll to see us in the Premier League table. Like, that was horrible. Page 2. That's where I had to find us last season. Right now, we're sitting 6th. We could get involved in this European thing. You know, Charlie said no chance of Europe. In your face.
If you don't get into it, KG, this year after the way the Premier League's going, it's completely wrong. Completely.
We're running a poll at the moment, actually, KG. Just stay with us. You can see what it is at the moment. The poll on X says, is Ruben Amorim getting it right at Manchester United? And 63% are saying no as it stands. Does that surprise you?
Not at all. I think us Man United fans are mental. We no disrespect to us, but we're all over the place. We're so desperate to win again. We don't know what we want. People said they just want to be entertained. Yesterday was entertainment. You know, we said we want attacking football. We're trying now. Play the youth. Some of the youth are playing. Kobbie comes on for 60 minutes. We're going to complain until we win something, but I think it just comes with, trying to be that great club again.
Start trying to win 5 games in a row so the man can get his haircut first, KG.
There's no reason for that.
That guy doesn't need to go to Turkey, does he? KG, thank you.
I want to talk about Kobbie Mainoo. His half-brother, Jordan Mainoo Hammers, stood in Old Trafford last night wearing a free Kobbie Mainoo T-shirt.
Well, culturally, if United aren't in the best position to demand a certain conduct from players that have an expectation of what they think they're entitled to, then you'll start to see people perhaps behave in a slightly different way than you would expect them to behave when they're playing for such a significant football club as Man United. That's part of the deterioration of the brand and ultimately the football club's culture, when you've got young players that have an expectation of they think they should be in the Man United team, and so if they don't have a Man United team, they get their idiot brother to stand inside the stands wearing a T-shirt because he's not being picked for a team, not because there's any bias against him, irrespective of those well-heeled managers in Rio Ferdinand, Paul Scholes and Nicky Butt that have managed at the highest level and know what it's like to manage a team. I would imagine there's a distinct possibility that Amorim is not picking him for a very good reason.
Right.
And that reason may well be the clue might be in the briefing, which is what they do on the training field will dictate to me whether they play in my side or not.
Yeah.
And clearly there must be a reason why this young player isn't playing. It can't be because contractually they don't want to do this, or somehow they've got an obligation to play Casemiro or something like that. It'll be because he's not seeing enough from him.
So does this tell us more about the culture of the modern day young player?
Maybe.
Rather than Amorim's lack of authority?
Maybe. It may tell you a culture of Manchester United as a football club, that it can't control its own players, to respect the fact that ultimately they're in an environment which is elite and they're playing for one of the biggest football clubs in the world, and there should be a little bit more respect for what they do or don't get. We are also in a social media generation where people just use social media to impart whatever brand of wisdom they think they're imparting. But I don't look at Kobbie. I think he's a decent player. I don't think he's a well beater. I think he's a decent player.
And he's out for a reason.
And he must be out for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it must be. I mean, he talks quite openly, Amorim, about players. There's no barrier to entry besides what they do on a training field. That's the end of a discussion. I mean, when you've got some, I mean, I despair of the stupidity of it. He's under contract. Didn't we hear about a year, 18 months ago, that this kid at 18, 19 years of age was wanting serious money? And this is the challenge that you've got, because they've arrived in their own minds before their journey's even really begun.
Well, welcome to the Gary Neville podcast. There's only one place to begin, Gary. The game we've just seen between Manchester United and Bournemouth. Match of the season so far?
Yeah, it was a stunning watch, more for a neutral maybe. But even for me, I was really critical after the Everton and West Ham games because of just the nature of the performance. I thought it was really bland. The Everton one where obviously kept 3 at the back and against 1 and they were down to 10 men and there's no urgency. There's not a throwing a kitchen sink at it. Same against West Ham, letting large parts of the game drift. Complete and utter opposite tonight. I can live with that all day long in terms of a performance and a standard, because they played really intent, played the ball forward, always played at full pace. We'll come on to the mistakes shortly, but I just think the way in which also when United went 3-2 down and Ruben Amorim then went to 4-4-2 and did the right thing. Forget the system. He did the right thing. He got the right players on the pitch and they looked a massive threat. But credit to Bournemouth. They were, in the first half, I thought they were really... I think they were overrun by United. I thought they were going to be out of the game. I thought that it would be probably 2 or 3-0. But if you don't kill teams off, United, I think you said, had more shots in the first half than any other team this season recorded in the Premier League, which demonstrated their dominance. But still, Bournemouth had 1 or 2 good moments and get the goal and still are in it at half-time. And Jamie Carragher's words just coming out before the second half that Ruben Amorim will be thinking, we should be further ahead in this game. True. The second half was absolute mayhem. Absolute mayhem. But just generally in terms of sort of what would be, and the fans feel the same thing. There were big boos after the West Ham and the Everton game. There weren't the big boos here after this game tonight. There was disappointment, but there were a lot of fans we just seen stayed in the stadium to clap the team because they can live with that. If you're a kid coming to United, my kids have come tonight. My 2 girls have come tonight, and they'll be thrilled walking back across that forecourt. They won't be happy that United haven't won, but they'll have seen a great game of football, and that's what you come to Old Trafford for. You come for entertainment. Of course, come to see your team win. And I get it. You've got to go and win games. You've got to win trophies. You've got to win titles, and we can turn into sort of what would be the fact that this is not good enough in respect of what's happened. But I think getting the entertainment bit right, the performance bit right, the style right, is absolutely critical at this football club. And I enjoyed what I've seen tonight from those red shirts. Defensively, I think it's to be expected when you think that, Martinez came on, but, De Ligt, Maguire, Martinez not playing, and you've got obviously a couple of young defenders. It doesn't look like a defence that's going to keep clean sheets and that's going to keep teams out. It just doesn't look like that. So you're thinking before the game already, you've probably got to score. I said at half-time, I think just after half-time, you probably have to score 4 to win this game, and 4 wasn't enough. It needed to be 5. Because both teams look really vulnerable at the back, and it was probably expected from United, and obviously Bournemouth have been going through a tough patch, but I enjoyed the game so much. I can live watching those types of matches all the time. I can't stand 0-0s. They happen sometimes, and they're a struggle, and you respect defensive sort of solidity, but it can't have bland, letting games drift where teams are passing it along the back. That was a proper game of football, and I enjoyed it.
I mean, there were all sorts of goals tonight. If there was one you could pick out from all of them, is that possible? One you liked in particular? Had the Fernandes free kick, of course.
The Fernandes free kick was sensational. But
this is the thing, when you have a game with so many goals in it like this, it almost, the fact something doesn't jump out at you is what makes it so great.
Probably the Fernandes free kick is the goal of the night, but I just thought the Tavernier run for the goal where he then eventually scored from the free kick was fantastic as well. And Bournemouth looked a real threat. If you look at that front 4 for Bournemouth before the game and you saw the United backline, you probably thought they have been struggling. Evan Nielsen, Semenyo, Jimenez I thought was fantastic tonight in Cliver. They've got real talent, that 4, and they've not been at it as much as you would think they should be. And Iriola had asked them before the game, I need my strikers to kick in. Well, that's the big benefit for Bournemouth out of tonight, because I actually thought before the game, if those 4 start to sort of play a little bit, United will be in a bit of trouble because they've got talent. And they did. They scored 4 goals. And deservedly scored 4 goals. They came back, but they were encouraged. They were encouraged by the fact they got to half-time and they were still only within 1.
On paper, it looked like a normal Premier League game at Old Trafford. In reality, it turned into one of the most chaotic matches of the season. By the final whistle, the scoreboard read 4-4, and everyone watching needed a moment to breathe. Manchester United started brightly and took the lead, only for Bournemouth to respond with determination. Just when United thought they had control, Bournemouth struck back again. This pattern repeated all night, one team scoring, the other refusing to give up. By halftime, United were ahead, but the sense of calm never arrived. The second half exploded into life. Bournemouth turned the game on its head. United fought back with moments of brilliance, and the stadium swung wildly between joy and disbelief. In just a few minutes, United scored twice to go 4-3 up, seemingly sealing the win. But football had one last twist. With time running out, Bournemouth found a late equalizer, silencing Old Trafford and completing an unbelievable comeback. 4 goals each, endless momentum shifts, defensive errors, stunning strikes, and raw emotion. It wasn't just a match. It was a reminder of why people fall in love with football. Unpredictable, painful, beautiful, and unforgettable.